Hello, this is George Landis, Landis Performance Center, a division of Racer Supply Store. And we are currently working on a 1980 Pontiac Trans Am. Just came from the paint shop, and we're doing the engine, transmission, wiring, plumbing installation. We are also installing a Holley Sniper fuel injection unit, which will give some highlight on the current installation. Okay, from underneath you can see the Ridetech True Steering suspension kit, along with the Heights tubular control arms, QA1 coilovers, nice Ridetech sway bar. And what this kit does is it has a longer pitman and idler arm, so it quickens the steering ratio for better handling. And you get a little glimpse of the March accessory assembly there, all powder coated in black. Power Master starter. We modified this car with a 700 R4 transmission, along with a Pipes stainless dual exhaust system, the X pipe in it. It goes back to the Street Pro mufflers, all the way to the stainless Trans Am tips. And there's a good shot of the Holley Sniper fuel tank. Okay, this engine is a 400 cubic inch Pontiac, bored 30 over, with Edelbrock heads and a comp hydraulic roller camshaft. One of the things that we like to do when installing a Holley Sniper fuel injection system on a dual plane manifold is we cut the center divider down 3/4 of an inch. You can see in the picture there how it's been machined down. Now I'll go ahead and reinstall the Sniper unit. Alright, so one of the reasons for the machined divider in the intake is fuel injection works off of a map sensor, and it reads manifold vacuum. When you have a dual plane, you have a divider, so you do not get as strong of a signal on both sides to the sensor. A single plane or multi-port injection has one common plenum that the map sensor reads at, which makes tuning much easier. So on these units, we cut the manifold to create that issue. All Holley fuel injection systems come with a power and ground wiring that in the instructions states to go directly to the battery. As you can see, we have that done here. The reason for that is any flyback voltage from any of the relays or sensors or solenoids in the vehicle could go back and damage the sensitive electronics in the fuel injection unit. With the main power and ground going directly to the battery acts as a buffer to absorb those voltage spikes so that your unit does not get damaged. So on this installation, we're also using a MSD dual sync distributor. Holley or Hyperspark would pretty much be the same installation. So you have to put the engine on TDC compression and then roll the motor back to where it's 50 degrees advanced before TDC. This is where you're gonna install the distributor. And on this distributor right here is where the rotor is supposed to be lined up. And then you turn the rotor, that is the cam light there. You can see the cam light stayed on and the crank light turned off. You go backwards a little bit till the light comes back on, and then right when it goes back off. Now that is the correct location for this distributor for startup. Okay, so now we have the Sniper mounted on the engine. We have our distributor installed in the engine in the correct position, 50 degrees before TDC compression number 1, with our cam light on and our crank light off. We have our fuel pump mounted in the fuel tank, mounted to the car. We have all of our fuel lines run to the front, and we have fuel in it. We have all the wiring done, so now we're ready to program the Sniper. So we turn the key on. We go to Wizard. We select the unit that we're using. We're using a 550-511. We select the number of cylinders, engine displacement, idle speed, on the camshaft. They give you 3 selections: stock / mild, street / strip, and race. And basically what this is referring to is how much vacuum the engine's going to run. Now this cam and this engine has 110 LSA, so it's going to have a halfway decent vacuum. So we're going to go ahead and select stock mild. We don't have any power adder, so we'll select none. And for the distributor, we have an MSD dual sync, which is similar to the Holley. So we'll select the Holley dual sync distributor. Now we're going to set our timing table. So at watt, we're going to set it at we'll set watt at 35 degrees. And now it's generating a file. Now we're loading the file into the ECU. Now we have to cycle the key to complete the operation. Now we can go into monitor and monitor the functions of the sensors and everything, how it's going. Once the vehicle starts, we have to go back and we'll select tuning, system, and then static timing. This is where you're going to sync the distributor to the numbers that are in the Sniper unit. So we would set at like 20 degrees is where I normally set it. Once we start the vehicle, we'd click set and then put a timing light on the engine. Then we would adjust the distributor till it reads 20 degrees. Once that's done, we'd hit clear and then close. So now the vehicle should fire up and start at this point. So we'll go back, check our gauges, crank it. And there it is, now it's running. Now we need to set our timing. We're gonna set our timing and then do some little adjustments and be able to test drive the car. So the first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and turn the ignition on. Okay, so with the ignition on, we're gonna go tuning, system, static timing. Now we're gonna set the timing. Like I said, I like to use 20 degrees. You can use any number you want to, but the advantage of using a high number is that the car should stay running even if the timing is off. So now we're gonna set, and now we're gonna start the car and check the timing. Okay, so we checked timing and we're at 26 degrees to make the pointer match to what the computer is saying. So now we're going to adjust the distributor. Okay, so now 20 on the wheel, on the timing light is reading 20 at the trigger. Now you notice I raised the idle up a little bit just to make sure that with the timing chain and stuff it doesn't advance or retard, so that the number is true. So now that we have that set, we're going to go ahead and clear. So now it's cleared. Now the engine is running back to its basics. So we're going to go to multiple gauge, or to, and then we're going to go to sensors. Now these are our sensors: TPS, battery voltage, manifold air temp, duty cycle, RPM, idle air control, timing. As you notice now the computer is controlling timing, so it's not at 20 anymore. AFR, and map pressure, which is vacuum pressure. Now you can see our IAC is at 0. If you have your engine running and it's 20 or higher, you have to lower the idle screw to get that down and then cycle the key so it resets the TPS. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit and see how close we are to TPS. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and check to see what the timing with the idle speed was actually set at. Sorry, we're going to go timing, tuning, we're going to go basic, we're going to go basic idle. Basic idle is set at 800 RPMs. So now we're going to go back to our monitor, and we can see that the idle is bouncing around 780 to 820, and we have 1% IAC control. That means the engine is basically idling off the stop screw. The reason you want this is when you put the car in gear or turn the AC on, it's going to require more load, so the IAC will open to keep the engine idling at the proper RPM. If you have an idle percentage of 30 or 40%, half of the idle work is being done by the IAC already. So when you put a load on it or you're coming to a stop and the car has to try not stalling, the IAC is already doing so much work it can't do both and you'll get a stall. So this is the proper setting. Anything below 5, I would say, is proper. Oh, okay. So the other thing we'll do now is we're going to go to our vitals. Now let's go to air fuel ratio. So this is showing, right now it's in closed loop. The computer is learning. The closed loop compensation, which is a short knee action type reaction, is at 0, -1, +1. And our current learn is at -24. So the computer has learned that it needs to be at 24% less fuel at this part of the target air fuel table to keep it running right. Now, what you'll want to do now is drive the vehicle. Drive it around, denote any issues with acceleration enrichment, stalling, cold start, etc. And after you've driven the car for a week or two, then you can hook this up with a laptop and transfer the learning to the base fuel table, and then the learning will, you can start over again. Okay, so where we ended the video at last, we had set timing and adjusted idle speed, and we are ready for road test. However, we found out that the interior will not be done for a couple weeks, and this video is actually getting pretty long, so we're going to go ahead and cut it off here and look for part 2 to be dropped probably in about 3 or 4 weeks. Also, watching the video, there was a couple discrepancies we saw. One, the kit is actually a 550-516, not a 511 as we noted earlier. Also, when adjusting the IAC, when your IAC numbers are high, you have to open the throttle blade to let more air in past the blade so that the IAC will return to a lower number. So here we'll go ahead and just turn the camera around and just do a final walk around the car, and when we get the interior in and we can do the test drive, we'll make part 2. So here we go. So this is the car. It's a 1980 Trans Am. It has a 400 Pontiac with a 700 R4 transmission. We built the engine 30 over with Edelbrock heads and a comp hydraulic roller camshaft, and of course the Sniper fuel injection system. Sound note from the back of the car. I believe our customer will be very pleased with this vehicle.